Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Smart Sex, Smart Love. Today we're going to be talking about toxic masculinity. So this has been a concept that's been going around the internet for a number of years now. You can Google it, toxic masculinity. And it's really about what we do to men and how we socialize males from childhood into adolescence into adulthood that trains them to be the kind of men that they don't want to be, women don't want them to be, other men don't want them to be. And yet we keep perpetuating this over and over and over again. And so I'm going to talk about that today in this series. So what is it? What are we talking about? Why couples will come in, straight couples come into my office, and they'll say, listen, my husband, the women will say, my husband's dead. He has no emotion. He never shows any kind of emotion to me. He's dead inside. And I'll say, well, is that true when he's watching sports? He's just sitting there and, oh no, in sports he's animated, he's screaming at the TV, they're back and forth. Okay, is that is he dead at work? No, at work he's really super power and super strong and getting things done, whatever she's saying. And I say, well, then he's not dead inside. What we teach men to do is to be dead inside in relationship to themselves and in relationships to their partners, men, women, both, whatever. So we stop touching boys by the age of 8 years old, and we start teaching them very young to reject anything feminine, what we call feminine, having access to your feelings, to be able to be in touch with your feelings, a vocabulary for your feelings. I once had a straight couple come in, and the guy said, when I fight with my wife, I feel like she has a machete and I have a Swiss pocket knife, and then we start fighting each other. And that makes a lot of sense, and that's very true, because early on we start to teach boys that to reject anything that's relational. And so what they do is they end up becoming what we call now toxic masculinity, where they are only able and only allowed to express themselves through sports, through violence, through work, and through sex. And when they do this, and they do this in some often very negative ways, not always, but in some negative ways, then we blame them. What's wrong with you? Why are you acting like this? Where did this come from? And we forget about the microaggressions that we do to men. And I want to talk about those for a minute, because microaggressions are mini insults, covert insults that we do to people. We do to black people or people of color. We do it to women. We do it to LGBTQ people, and we do it to men. And these are some microaggressions we do to men. We say things like, you only think with your dick. Not all men only think with their dick. You don't understand women. That's not true. Many men understand women. Really? You don't watch sports? As if there's something wrong with not watching sports. Calling men a womanizer, a man whore, a man slut. These are very negative things to say about men, and yet our culture is fully okay with this. Saying that men can't hear the word no when they're rejected sexually. Yes, they can. Some men can't, but most men can. So to make a sweeping generalizations that all men are like that, it's just not true. How about women forming circles and talking about how much they hate balls? And people laugh about that. That's not funny. Imagine a bunch of men forming circles talking about how much they hate vulva and vaginas. There are men that say that, but we also understand that's just wrong. It's bad. It's not okay. It's equally not okay to talk badly about male genitalia. Why are straight guys so obsessed with lesbians? Not all straight guys are obsessed with lesbians. Telling men to man up, toughen up, don't cry. Here's where I like to refer to the work of Terrence Real, who wrote a really good book in the 90s, it's still a classic book, called I Don't Want to Talk About It, Overcoming Male Depression. And in it, this is what he says. Boys and men are granted privilege and special status, but only on the condition that they turn their backs on vulnerability and connection to join in the fray. Those who resist, like unconventional men, gay men, bisexual men, are punished for it. And the exclusion isolation of a failed winner is so great that it's as if he didn't exist at all. And this really comes from patriarchy. We think of patriarchy as hurting women, but it also hurts men. Patriarchy is defined as the predominance of men in positions of power and influence in society, with cultural values and norms being seen as favoring only certain men. And these are the men that would be privileged in our culture. And that could be through financial, that can be through race, that can be through lots of different things, sports. And it needs to stop. This really needs to stop, and we really need to take a look at what we do to men, how they manifest with their toxic masculinity, and really help women have empathy for men in the therapy room. We have for years as therapists helped men have empathy toward women, and we need to continue to do that. That needs to grow. But we also need to take men where they're at and help women understand and have compassion for why men behave the way they do. That's enough for this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.